On today's episode of the Real Recovery Podcast, episode number 51, we welcome Valerie Martinez, a resilient force in the recovery community. Valerie's story is one of strength, survival, and transformation. From early struggles with addiction to finding purpose through recovery and advocacy, she has turned her journey into an inspiration for others. Join us as we explore her path, the challenges she's overcome, and the work she's doing today to uplift and empower those seeking a way forward. This episode is a powerful reminder that no matter how dark the past, a new future is always possible.
Hello, and welcome to the Real Recovery Podcast. I'm Julie, your co-host. On this journey of healing and transformation, together with my co-host Peter, we dive into the heart of recovery, sharing stories that resonate with courage and inspiration.
That's right, Julie. Each episode is a new chapter in this vast narrative of recovery, and we're honored to bring them to you. But keep in mind, the perspectives you'll hear are for informational purposes only and may not reflect the views of the podcast or our partners.
Indeed, while these conversations can be a powerful part of your recovery toolkit, they are not substitute for professional medical advice. We encourage you to seek guidance from your healthcare provider for any treatment-related decisions.
And if you're facing an immediate crisis, or if you just need to talk to someone who understands, don't hesitate to call the Recovery Crisis Line at 503-223-8569. That number is also on our website. Help is available 24/7.
Now let's begin our episode
of recovery, real recovery.
Welcome, Val, to the Real Recovery Podcast. This is Julie.
And Peter, and I'm so excited you're here. Made it all the way to Southeast Portland.
Studio H. We're at
Studio
Peter's. This is Studio H, Peter's house. I want to say thank you. Just right up off the start. I watch you every day, and not in a stalker way. But I love that you post your pictures. It makes me so happy that you post them every day. I think I like them almost every day. And if a comment is needed, I comment because I believe you're a miracle. There's all sorts of, some people aren't. Some people make it to AA, but I think you're like a freaking miracle.
Thank you.
And I wanted you on the show before we even sat with you at Fora. So that was actually very cool. So there's no format for this show.
Okay.
You can swear, you can be ghetto, you can be Miss America,
right.
you can do whatever you
be
want.
Be yourself.
Okay.
We try to be.
All right.
And we'll talk with you during your story and stuff, but it's unlike an AA meeting or an NA meeting where you have 10 minutes. You can take your time, do what you want. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you had the opportunity to listen to any of the podcasts?
Yes, I listened to Izzy's.
Oh, okay. Don't judge by that one. No, I'm
I
just
was
kidding.
gonna say. And you missed the first 30 minutes where him and Peter talked about Xanadu with Olivia
We
Newton-John.
went just a little off topic.
Look, I was like this.
We're of the same era and the same, I guess, experiences. So we had a lot to chat about.
I've never
I
seen
bet.
that movie.
In that.
I never have either.
Girl.
Now I'm going to have to go watch it.
Look at
Olivia Newton-John.
Peter's never seen Love and Basketball, and it overwhelms my brain. You know,
You never watched that?
exactly.
You're right, movie.
It is. It's my favorite all-time movie. My daughter even has the heart basketball tattoo.
Uh-uh.
Yeah.
Someday I'll get to that.
He would be so bored. What's going on Sunday, Peter?
There's a great halftime show I'm going to watch.
Oh, so you
I don't
know that the
I don't
Super
know-
Bowl
I
is
don't know
going
anything
on.
else about it.
Who's performing?
Actually, I don't know who's performing.
Kendrick Lamar.
I have not been following it that
Huge
closely.
scandal.
Although I believe the Chiefs are going to be in it, right?
And the Eagles.
And the Eagles.
And the Chiefs have been in several. Like this
Would be their third, which has never been done in consecutive ever.
Wow. Well, see, there you go. I'm missing out on a whole lot.
Not even the Patriots did it?
The Patriots won 3, but they didn't win 3 consecutively.
Okay.
They had space in between.
Oh, got it.
If Patrick Mahomes does it, it really clinches his significance. And I don't want that to happen. I'm just letting you know, I want Philadelphia to win all the way. I'm tired of the Chiefs. And I'm really tired of every time Travis Kelce touches the ball, they show Taylor Swift. Okay, she does not play football. I'm just saying, you don't have to show her at every game. So
Enough about the sports.
Yeah. I'll give you my sports podcast later.
Okay.
This is Real Recovery Podcast, not sports recovery or whatever.
You have to go there sometimes, but
We don't want to talk about the Kardashians, too.
no,
That's a whole
oh my
different
God, no, girl. No, maybe Lamar Odom, his recovery, but no Kardashians. So tell us about the beginning and how we get to here.
Let's see. So basically, growing up, I grew up in a good household, but yet broken household. I'm Hispanic, and growing up, we had the family, we have a bunch of get-togethers, all the time. We're a tight-knit family. I didn't even know behind everything. Like, my parents didn't argue in front of us. They would argue behind the scenes. And my mom never spoke up about my dad. And my dad has been an addict for years.
Mm.
And when about 9, my mom and my dad split up. I'm a twin. Yeah, I'm a twin. Veronica.
Oh, wow.
And then I have a little sister named Shauna. And then I have a brother named Michael. And my brother Michael is doing 60 years upstate. But basically, I grew up out in Brooks, Oregon, in a trailer. Didn't grow up in the high life or anything like that.
Either.
But it was just it was a struggle. It was just different when my mom and dad, the day my mom and dad split up, something I do remember vivid because my mom and dad didn't fight in front of us. And that was the first time we ever seen them actually get into a fight. And my mom basically beat the shit out of my dad. He didn't pay her rent. And it was very traumatic for my mom to
Finally
get
speak
arrested.
up.
She got arrested, but not just that though, we got separated. Me and my brother went with my dad and my sisters went with my mom. And
Your twin?
yeah.
Hmm.
And so basically my dad paid some of the girls' rent, and then my dad had us staying at some of the girls' house, and my dad was out and about, doing his little life. But the girl my dad was seeing pretty much kept me there. But then she kicked out my dad. She didn't say why. She just kicked him out, which it was hurtful because I didn't know what was going on. I was young.
Yeah.
And from there, we moved down with my aunt, and which she took care of us, took care of me and my brother. And I started hanging out with my cousin and everybody. Pretty much, I got into the drug scene very young. I started using drugs at age, I want to say 11 and a half.
Oh,
Chris Crank when it was out. Remember, I was up in the barn with my so-called friend, and I got high for the first time. And
My drug of choice.
it was Crank.
Yeah, my drug of choice as well.
And it was I liked it. I was able to get up and go. And from there, I just started living my life how I wanted to live because my mom didn't know what was going on. So she thought we were being taken care of, but we weren't. And when my mom found out that we were just going downhill, she tried coming to pick us up. But we're like, no, because we didn't want that. Our mom to be on our asses. But basically, I don't even know where to start because my life growing up was a struggle. I do remember at times thinking that it was okay to be 12 years old on her own. And
were you attending school at that? No, you were just free, out there.
my mom tried getting us in school and stuff. My aunt and them tried getting us to school, and it was not happening. We wanted to go kick it with people. We wanted to hang out with people, and we ended up hanging out with the wrong crowd. My brother got involved in gangs, and then we got involved in skipping school. When my mom came to get me, she enrolled me in Woodburn, which I did not like at all. So I went back to my aunt's. And from there, I remember one day waking up at my grandpa's house with a bunch of cops. And because I have my dad's name tattooed on my back. And they're like, hey, Manuel. And I'm like, what do you want? And they had raided my cousin's house. And they were raiding my grandpa's house. So from there, we went down, had to go back to my mom's house, of course.
Yeah.
But by then, I was already thinking I was gangster, Ben Davis, Dickies, Cortezes, blue rag for my hair, dark makeup, just out of control. And honestly,
living the life.
yeah. And from there, when I turned about 13, I met my oldest kid's dad. Like it went like, I met my oldest kid's dad, and when I met Esteban, he had his shit together. And I honestly thought that was what I wanted. We stayed together for a couple years, and nothing was perfect. There was a lot going on. That's basically what I got, like, initially learned about, like, drug dealing and all that stuff.
So his shit was together, but it wasn't in a
Wasn't
good
together,
way.
yeah. And basically, like, it was very toxic, though, very abusive. But in my eyes, it was everything that me and my sisters needed, because my mom got tired of her shit. You know what I mean? My mom got tired of all our shit because she was chasing my sisters, chasing my brother. She was tired, so she got married. And so basically, I was like, this is an opportunity for me and my sisters and my brother. We have this father figure guy who's wanting to take care of us. And I'm not even craving to get high on drugs.
A stable place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And money was not a fucking issue. And I was able to, like, to pick up my sister. And when I was 16 and pregnant, I was the one picking up my sister, getting the phone calls from the girl now. Hey, your little sister's in jail. You need to go and pick her up. And so I took on that role of mom, dad, sister, and brother.
And at such a young age.
And wow. I had my second at 17, and there was so much abuse in the fucking house. When I finally got tired of it, I gave up, and I moved out. And other people didn't understand because I never let anybody know what was going on. Because I was always, like, raised that it happens in the house, stays in the house. Nobody needs to know shit.
And it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's not something you want to share.
And so basically, feeling like, what do? The only thing I know what to do is to go back and use drugs. You mean? And I had my kids, but yeah, I started using drugs. And it's like I got my little bit of freedom, and because I had it taken away from me for a long time. And so I was like, all right. But
and you're
at the same time, though, I'm still a mom to my kids and still going through a lot of shit with their dad. And it was a hard fucking time. And I'm not perfect by any means. There's a lot of stuff that I wish I can go back and redo. But at the same time, it's part of my story. When I turned 18 is when, like, I started getting into trouble. I remember going in front of getting picked up and for delivery, and at 18. And basically, prior to that, let me go backtrack. So my kid's dad took my kids away. He didn't just take them. He took them from me. And I was really fucking naive. I didn't know better. I know it sounds like cop out, but I didn't know. I was raised, you don't call the cops. And I thought they was going to bring back my kids. Right. He beat me up and he took my kids. And I never got him back. Nor did I know how to fight for my kids. And right. I don't share that with many people, but and I lived with that for a long time. And then, so I started getting high and I started selling drugs because that's what I know. I got picked up. And I remember going in front of a judge, and Judge Tripp, it was her fucking name. She did not like me.
It's an odd name for a judge, Tripp.
She looked at me and she's like, I heard all about you. I was like, oh, you do? That's funny. And because I'm a sarcastic person, especially when I'm nervous, I smile a lot. Or like I'm in my feelings, I smile.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's a defense mechanism. Yeah. No, I understand.
And so basically, she's, do you find it funny? And I said, no, but I do have a question for you. Because, my mentality, I'm going to challenge this girl. And she's like, I was like, so can you please tell me where's my house, where's my car, where's this and where's that? If I'm such a big time drug dealer, she said, do you find it funny? I'm going to make an example of you. So she sent me upstate. First charge ever in my whole entire life.
Me too.
And I looked at her, I was like, what? But you would think that I would get it. They sent me to the AIP program. I could have gotten out early, but because of who my kid's dad was, he'd bring my kids to see me. But because of who he was, girls were like, Valerie's not being honest in the program. Mm-hmm. And they asked me, and they're like, hey, what's up with your kid's dad?
Is AIP inpatient treatment? Okay.
Yeah. It's all programs.
Okay.
And so they kicked me out because I told them, like, person to my right, person to my left, person behind me, get 2 fucks about my story. I'm not going to tell you. I refused to talk about anything. I didn't talk about anything. I never worked on anything. So basically, I had to do my full time. And so I got out. Well, when I was in there, I got hit with news. You'd think that it would make me want to do better, but it's the opposite. So I walked into visiting and all the guards were in there, lieutenants were in there. You knew something was going on.
Yeah.
My kid's dad, he don't cry at all. And he was just like in tears. And I was like, what's going on? And my kids came out. My oldest son, though, came out and gave me a big hug. He's, Mommy, I'm sorry. I was like, what are you doing out here? You're going to get me in trouble. And he was like, you don't have to be sorry for anything. You're doing great. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. And that was when I got the hit with the news that my daughter was molested, raped. And which today he's Eric. He's not Eric anymore. You would think that would change him, it would change me to want to hurry to get home. But it made me more angry. It made me like really fucking pissed. I hate myself. Because I felt like a fucking piece of shit parent. I felt like I should have been there for them. And I took and I ran with it. And I didn't want to fucking feel anymore. And I didn't care. I got out for fucking 2 months. And I went back to upstate.
Can I tell you, I think for me, I didn't deal with my molestation. I was molested from 5 to 11. And I suppressed it. When I was high, I didn't think about it. When I owned the escort service and I had money coming out my ass, I didn't think about it. It wasn't until I was 55 years old that I admitted it. And let me tell you, it was like, holy shit. And my mom and dad just dumped me off at a nanny's. I was there from 6 months to 11. And I have to tell you, it is, and I have been over the top when it comes to my child. Like, I have been schizophrenic. I fear everything. I fear her driving over the bridge. Like, I just am like really schizo about it. So I get it. And it is hard. And you feel like, I felt the same way when I went to prison and my mom had to take her. I felt like a failure. Like, how are you going to let somebody take your child when you didn't have your parents?
Right.
And it's a hard thing. It's a really hard thing. And I have to tell you, it's a lot of therapy. And I just started and I'm old.
Yeah. And then there's something like, I just got back into the system. I didn't allow anybody to get to me. And
were you tough?
I act like I was a fucking
Me too.
badass.
To this day.
Everybody was like,
I'll be like, you don't want none of this.
Do you have feelings? Yeah, no, I don't. Seriously.
And I think when you're tough like that, right? For me also, and I don't like to let people in. I don't want to be in a relationship. First of all, I don't have the patience for your fucking ass. I'm just being honest. I really don't. I can screw you and leave you. That's not a problem. But I don't have the patience. And I think that most of it is I don't want to take a risk and get hurt. So I can have a husband like Izzy, a brother like Peter, my sponsors, my dad that I never had. Those are so easy for me. And the trust comes easy. But in anything personal, yeah. Like, I still want to keep you at a distance.
Right.
And I'm a bitch. Like, you didn't fold the towels this way. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Right?
Yeah, exactly. This is how I put my dishes in the dishwasher. Yeah. They all face this way. They get cleaner.
I'm the exact same way. But honestly, I can go on and on about my story and like people I grew up with. And I'm still friends with a lot of people that I went to school with.
Really?
And which is crazy because
it is.
I used to think like that. Oh, I don't know anybody. Growing up since I was a little girl. But now that I'm sober, everybody wants me back in their life. But, and a lot of people have changed. Like I have like my best friend since I was a little fucking kid. He is the male version of me and I am the female version of him. And everybody's like, you guys are fucking crazy. Why don't you guys date? And we're like, fuck no, what the fuck? No. But I love the shit out of him though, because I don't ever have to fake it. But he was one person that told me like, you need to get your fucking shit together. Right. And also I went through domestic abuse after abuse relationship. All my relationships, if there wasn't abuse in my relationship, I would cause chaos because I wasn't used to the fucking shit just to be nice and fucking just mellow. I had to cause some kind of
You were used to chaos in your life, so you didn't know how to deal with normalcy. No,
and
I understand.
even when someone was nice to me, I'm like, right, be nice to me. But
Or what do you want?
you mean, and if and what's sad though is I'm not gonna lie, like one thing I had learned too is my kids are talking to me, you know what I mean? I would have, and they would like try to get personal with me. I would change the subject because it was too much for me. And which even like with my relationships, like I sit there and I'm truly grateful that I got picked up when I got picked up. Do you know what I mean?
I know.
It was a fucking blessing in its own.
I was so pissed off at first, right?
Yeah.
I was pissed off. They took over $250,000 from me. That gave me a pretty big resentment. My fourth step is all about the fucking DEA, the money, the IRS. and my detective really was called Daryl Dick. That's his real name. And
These names, I swear.
yeah, and he was actually really good to me at first because I was in college. And he told me the day I graduated, he came and he brought me money. And he told me, quit fucking around. You know, you have your degree, quit fucking around. And because I didn't quit fucking around, yeah, he made it like a personal mission. But I have to tell you, it wasn't until I went to IOP at 25 years sober, I went to IOP and they told me to take the worst thing that happened to me and really, how could I flip it? And now, in hindsight, I believe going to prison gave me the timeout I needed. I got high that morning before I went to court. I got high 20 minutes before I went to court because I knew I was going to prison. So what the fuck, right? This is my last chance. Might as well get high. And I had moved all my daughter's shit to my mom, had it all set up and stuff. And I went and got high on the way to court. I was almost late.
You were high.
But I, in hindsight, I believe the timeout was the best thing for me.
And that's like what I honestly like. I feel today is getting picked up in October from a charge that was from 21. That I didn't even know that fucking that I had a secret indictment on. You mean, and that secret indictment was no fucking joke. There were 2 Measure 11s. They were trying to hit me with 12 fucking years. You know what I mean?
There's no good time for Measure 11.
I was like, when the officer's like, man, because see, I didn't want to give the officer. That day I did not want to give. I was higher than shit. Okay, and I was drinking. I was high. I was like, listen. I don't gotta give you shit. If you don't have a fucking reason to fucking talk to me, I don't need to talk to you. And he's hurt. And then the guy I was with, though, he's like, just give him your ID. Like, why are you making such a big deal? I was like, no, fuck that shit. And he's like, oh, come on. And I was just like, fine. So I gave him my ID. At first, I was so mad at myself. I was like, why'd you give me your fucking ID? But then, like, when I was sitting in there, and like, he tried arresting me, and I was like, no. And like, I was like, not until you tell me where you're gonna arrest me. And you're like, I need to know. And then it dawned on me, I was like, oh, this shit from 21. You know what I mean? So I got into a fight with my ex, and not even a fight. It was just, I pulled out, I seen him with another girl, and I was like, this motherfucker. And I was so drunk, you mean? But I fucking got in the car, I sliced through his fucking tires.
I may or may not have.
I already got charged, okay?
No, with the bat.
But what's messed up,
Busted
though,
out
is
some windows.
Nobody got hurt in my charge. Nobody got hurt. But because what they had said, they were trying to hit me with 2 Measure 11s on each one. And let me tell you, when they told me, like, Lynn County fucking lied to me, first of all. They're like, we're going to put you in a different pod, so you're in a pod with a bunch of people. You know? I was like, sure. They put me in a murder pod. And right there, when they're like, you're in here because you have 2 Measure 11s, when they told me that, my whole, like, everything just dropped. I was like,
no good time for Measure 11
I said,
either.
really? And they're like, yeah. And all I could think about, honestly, was how am I going to fucking tell my kids? And how am I going to tell my mom? Because my mom's already been hit with my brother. Just thinking about, like, she's never going to see her son again. She's going to see him, but she's never going to be able to have him out here. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then my gangster side was like, buck it up. You got this shit. What's fucking 12 years? You can do it. You know, and I try to really boost myself up. So
12 years is a lot of fucking time.
So I don't wake up, and I'm sitting there and they transport me, and I'm like, well, what do I do?
The orange suit and the shackles.
What do I do? You know, what the fuck do I do? I can't do anything. And behold, I got blessed. He looks like Santa Claus, my attorney, but he is the most amazing attorney I've ever gotten. I've never had an attorney fight for me or believe in me. And I walk in there, he called me Little Ray Sunshine. And he's like, Little Ray Sunshine. And when I do time, though, I had a workout routine. I kept myself
I was in boot camp.
I'm like, all right, I gotta keep my time going. If I just sit here, it's gonna just. But my cousin, who is like my fucking rock, she never left my side. She's always been there for me. She has a few, like, I think like 10 years in sobriety. We call each other Moko. And she's like, just don't worry. We got you. But it was like just my attorney, and then talking to my attorney, he's like, oh, I need to hear your story. And I said, honestly, like all I know is from what he had told me, you mean? And he goes, okay. And I told him, I was like, but I did try turning myself in that night. And like I told him, I was like, I know because I called my kids because I went to my cousin's house and I called my kids and I was like, listen, I fucked up. And they're like, are you high? I wasn't high on drugs. And I was like, no, but I'm drinking. And they're like, then don't worry about it. You don't have to stress about it. And to know that my kids weren't angry at me, I mean, was like the most best feeling. And they drove 9 hours just to be with me, to go with me, to turn myself in. Do you know what I mean? And I'm grateful because I am blessed with great kids. But at the same time, though, I'm grateful that I got picked up when I got picked up, because this time around, I can, like, when I went to be like going in front of a judge, because they've never done it the way they did it with me, I was like something new, you mean, that they did shit with. So my attorney's like, we're gonna make face. You mean we're gonna put a face to you instead of putting charges. Let's try it that way. And I was like, okay. And so what helped me though was because I didn't pick up no new charges before the crime, and I didn't pick any charges after. But also I turned myself in, and also I didn't move from my apartment. I kept my apartment for over a year. And the attorneys, they were like, it's not your fault. You know what I mean? I was like,
those are pretty grave charges.
Yeah. Like the judge is she was.
For slashing tires, that is to measure 11. Somebody had to say some bad shit.
They said, so what my thing was though, is because when she swung on me, I swung back. And I had that in my hand.
Now it makes sense.
So that makes, yeah. Mm-hmm. But nobody got hurt. That's the whole thing, was nobody got hurt. You know what I mean? And then he tried saying that I cut him with the box knife, but when everybody's like, she had a box knife, she would have slit your fucking face open. You know what I mean? Not put a little dot on you. Like, yeah. But basically, so the judge was, what do you want? When they put me in front of her for the release hearing to see if they would release me, because I was facing a $5,000 bond. And my uncle was like, I'll help pay for it. He's like, don't worry. So my only thing was like, she's like, I'll release you with the bond. I have no problem. And she's like, what is it that you're asking me released to? Or what? I was like, I want to be released to treatment. I don't want to be released to the streets. She was like, I was going to release you to the streets. I was like, no, I'll wait in here until I get a bed. And she just looked at me. She says, do you really want treatment that bad? I was like, I do. She goes, honestly,
good for you.
I could have been like anybody else, but you obviously have the drive to want to change. She goes, if Fora don't work out for you, then do not leave. And she goes, if you leave, show up to your court.
Showing up is a lot.
And I was like, okay. So I had to wait like 2 weeks, until I was released. And then I got a bed in Fora. And let me tell you, I've never moved to Portland. I always said I was never moving to Portland. It's too big. But being there though, and before I went there though, I told myself that the stuff that you want to tell somebody, but yet you don't want to tell them because you don't know if you're going to need it for later, I was going to share. And
get the help. Yeah.
I was going to share. I was going to change my beliefs for the first time and actually take a look at my shit and not sit there and be in denial. I mean, about my shit and work on the shit I really need to work on, which is letting my wall down and trusting people and being comfortable. And
the right people.
Fora, but being there at Fora though, I felt so comfortable and I didn't feel judged.
Mike Covey is my man.
I didn't feel judged at all. Do you mean?
You're not.
And I used to always be so scared to speak up or anything because growing up, I didn't have to use my vocabulary. Communication skills. Don't have them. I didn't have time. But today, I learned to not allow my own shit, keep me from saying, hey, I don't understand what that word means. Before I'd be like, I'm not going to fuck that. They're going to laugh at me. And I would stop myself from growing, And there I learned so many skills. And I actually learned who Valerie was. And I'm a spunky, funny, who don't really give two fucks person, and who just loves life. And I told everybody, I was like, I'm tired of having weeds in my garden. I want flowers. I want to have a beautiful garden.
You have to
and I'm going to have
roots,
that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'd be damned if I've been hit in there. Let me tell you, Fora, I've had people fucking put shit on my fucking hacky sack. Okay, I've been tested left and right. And people chasing me, looking for me in the house, and I had something like, don't react. You know what I mean? And I was able to fight my case, though, from at Fora. And I had my mentor, Stephanie, which she helped me get to my appointments. And fucking Devin, she also helped me. But I honestly, I remember seeing GTD come in. And I was like, who's that? Where are they going? I want to go. But I had just gotten there. They're like, no, you can't. So I started running outside in the back.
For our listeners, that's Izzy and Go the Distance.
Yes.
Yeah. And this is Fora Health. We're talking about where you were.
We've done episodes on Izzy, GTD, Mike Covey, and Forrest. So that's good if they want to go back and listen. Mm-hmm.
And it was really cool, though, because like I would run outside in the back because I couldn't go somewhere for 5 days. So I started running that little area in the back.
At the balcony that overlooks the... Yeah.
Yeah, and
I wave every
now
time
people
I go
run
by
back there now. Now a lot of people run there now. They're like, you started. But it was like the best thing, though, when I met... Oh, man, I remember meeting Izzy, and I was like, I want to work for you one day. I want to work for you. And because it's just when my legs hit the pavement, though, I feel so free. But this time when my feet hit that pavement, I feel even more free because I had learned to take in everything. I had learned that my freedom is not something that's just given. I mean, for me, it's actually a fucking privilege for me to wake up every day and walk out my fucking doors.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I could have been inside. They could have fucking turned around and said, no, fuck you.
I will tell you, nobody understands unless you have lost your freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Someone telling you where to shower, when to shower. You only get one choice to eat. The shit you put up with. It's amazing. Because I almost went to the hole for something. I was like, I got 8 days left. Bitch, do you want to go? I'm going home. You can stay. And then somebody told me you could get more time if you did that. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I had gotten a 90-day violation to moving from Portland to Beaverton when I was supposed to parole to Beaverton. And I was like, how are you going to give me a violation because you paroled me to the wrong place? Fuck you. And they did. It didn't matter. So
I get it. Because so basically like after Fora and even after Fora, I kept going back to Fora for Criminal and for my alumni. And that's where I met my boss, Gretchen. She saw me on Sam and then we're like, hey, Val, Sam from Criminal. And she's like, hey, can you call Gretchen? Do you want a job? And I was like, huh? Really? you
know what I like about GTD? I was saying this, and this is what I told Izzy, and hopefully they're going to 4D juniors, the children.
Yeah.
But the thing I like about GTD, and this is just from the inpatient side, right? I got to go to AA and built my foundation, okay? And I was in a gay men's meeting and I felt safe. They didn't want to sleep with me. They didn't want anything from me. Most of them were older than my dad would have been. And GTD, once you go through GTD, then you can go to the alumni runs. Mm-hmm. It's not just taken away from you. It creates the foundation and then it keeps you there.
Yeah.
And this has been the same for me for AA with the foundation. But when you get out of treatment, if you just lose everything that you had, what's to stop you from going back to what you know? So
it's like what you were saying about another individual who had a gym membership. And as soon as they were done with the treatment, that ended. And it was like...
That actually really pissed me off, to be honest with you, because they're related to me. And they're gotten in the good habit, right? And matter of fact, I keep encouraging them to go to GTD. But they got in the habit of working out 4 times a week, looking really good, better than they've looked in a long time.
Right.
And then when they graduated, the membership got taken. And there goes that foundation. Now, luckily, they had a job and they got the membership and they've kept it up. But not everybody does.
Right.
And if you do not have some foundation of AA, NA, Wellbriety, GTD, something, what are you going to do?
It's community connections. You need community connections.
Absolutely.
Always.
And I think it's the part that a lot of people are missing.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go back to what they know.
Right.
Unlike you, I had to change every person I hung out with because I grew up in the East Coast. I got into my criminality at 19, and that's all I knew. I didn't know anybody that was good.
Oh, but I did have to change everyone I did, though. The only ones, like the ones I do talk to are the ones I went to school with when I was like in elementary and middle school.
Yeah, I didn't have those people here. So it's crazy. My friends start. I think that's why AA is even more important to me. When I got out of prison and I went to AA, I trusted no one in this whole fucking world. Not even my mom. Because my mom, I left her with $30,000 to take care of my child, $1,000 a month. And this is when her rent was like $425. And when I got home, I only did 6 months out of the 24 months, and all the money was gone. And I was like, and I so didn't trust anybody. I mailed myself $5,000 and bought a P.O. box for 30 months because the most I could do is 24. I put my car in a garage that I paid for 30 months in a post office box for 30 months. That's the only reason I put my stuff in storage. That is the only reason I didn't come home to nothing because she went through all my money in 6 months and I left you with enough to make it 24 months. So I'm thinking I'm only gone 6 months and 14 days because of boot camp. I got a time cut. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to have this when I get home, money for this, money for that. And it wasn't. The money I had just enough almost to get an apartment after I did 30 days at the Y. And it was not easy. I sold my car to have enough money, which I didn't need that car. It was like arrest me now car. No, it was like an arrest me now car. I sold my jewelry because they were like arrest me now jewelry. And I had to do that. And I folded towels at the bottom of the Mallory Hotel in the basement. Talk about manual labor. When I had my nails, they would be crooked at the by the time because of the heat from the towels. Talk about humble. Okay. Yeah.
That's what, like I think this experience, and also because like my family, everybody lives close to each other always, and that's just how it's always used to be. And to move out this way by myself and to be like, okay, I'm not gonna lie, my first day out of fucking Fora, I got lost. Yeah, I got lost. I got lost. I took the wrong bus. And
you're close to Fora, though, at least. I'm close to Fora, where I live. I live in the fucking ghetto, girl. Nice condo, but in the ghetto. Luckily, they just moved the trailers for real. Like they put up
almost trailers,
orange blocks, and they moved the trailers because it was like a drive-through, and it was very frustrating because it was extremely frustrating. But I also know we have choices.
Right.
We can go through the drive-through, or we cannot.
That's one thing I tell everybody. I'm like, because everybody's like, "Oh, you're at Blackburn." I'm like, yeah, but you know what?
Fuck these
One
bitches.
thing I tell them is when I see someone in their addiction, I walk up to them and say thank you because it's a reminder where I don't want to be. Do you know what I mean? It really, truly is. And it's a blessing. You know what I mean? Its own.
Can I tell you, when I see someone, I say this all the time, I feel uncomfortable. I have a stomach ache instantly. And I can't fuck with you. And I'm sober a long time and I still don't fuck with you. I have boundaries and rules. Some of them might be stupid to other people.
You have to do what you gotta do for yourself. They kept
me sober. And when Izzy first came in, the same thing. I was like, you got to surround yourself with people that are doing productive things.
Yeah.
You go around the old people.
Oh, trust me, I know. I'm like.
So tell me about you. You're in Fora. Right?
In Fora, yes. Okay. I'm in Fora, and let me tell you.
You meet GTD.
And it was like, it was like God just sent GTD to me. I was like, all excited. You mean, and just to be able to run and to see the community, and it just made my heart just cry of happiness and joy. I was like, these are my people. These are people that understand.
And Greg is sunshine.
Yes.
Connor is fine. I'm just saying. And Izzy is funny and outgoing. Yes. I'm just saying. Yeah.
It's a perfect,
it is perfect match.
And I was like, oh my gosh, like I feel like I can vibe with GTD, you know what I mean? Yeah. But at the same time though, you know what I mean? I was just like, but what's going to happen? You mean? And then I finally got to the point where I was like, you know what? I'm not going to live like that and stay in the fuck, you mean? So I told myself, live every day like it's your last, because I did not know if I was winning my case, you mean? because I just won my case. I mean, I just got like on probation and all that. But like, it was like truly everything that had happened, it was something I needed. You know what I mean?
Someone was looking out for you.
And I was like, I needed to be pulled out from my old fucking stomping grounds and put into somewhere new.
Yeah.
And somewhere where I felt safe. And who would have known I feel safe like no tomorrow here in Portland? I feel like I'm like, I mean, and so many things. And I used to hate the fucking saying that they say in the rooms is just life will pave its way.
Let go.
It's going to pave its way. Just be patient. I'm like, I'm fucking not a patient person. But honestly, like, and I could say, I mean, like me being patient and being like honest with everything and just speaking what's on my mind and not leaving before the miracle. Even because I was almost ready to be like, well, I guess I'll go back to Salem because they didn't have a spot for me at Blackburn yet. I was like, bye. They're like, you're not going. You're going to be patient.
That's the good thing about Fora. 100% housing, girl.
Yep.
They'll keep you in there and not let somebody else in until they know you got a spot.
And like, it was, I mean, like, honestly, but Fora, what makes Fora though is the community and the people that work there.
Mm-hmm.
And they like my counselor, like Jake was my counselor. And I used to sit there and be like,
I've gone in and spoken for Lacey at the women's meeting.
Yes.
And I have to tell you, it's one of my favorite, it was one of my favorite things because it made me just so grateful. Like when I see these women, and I know some are going to make it and some aren't, we know. And I also know it's what you put into it.
Yeah.
And some are going for the wrong reasons. Some are going for the right. We know. But it makes me so grateful that no matter what I'm going through, it's better than being high.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. And I 100% agree with that. Because we also created, me and James, we created the Fora fan page on Facebook, in which we have a lot of people on there. Just something where they need help, they can reach out and say, hey, I need help. This is going on.
You and James are like
always like
bros. Yeah.
He honestly, everybody's like, you in a relationship? No, we're not in a relationship because I'm someone who I don't know how to be in a relationship. And I am that person that is like mine. And then I become one. And then I forget about Val and I know that about myself. I'm like, I only have 16 months. Like, I'm a baby in this. And I'm still growing.
But it's good to have somebody like that
on my side. Yeah.
Yeah.
And which, like with James, though, like I'm able to be myself. He helps me out a lot. More than like anybody knows. Like I freak out in my head and he's, are you okay? I'm like, no. He's like, okay. I'll come back and ask you again. But I don't have to explain myself. And it's really nice to have that someone that's kind because they really truly mean to be kind, not because they want something from me.
Yeah.
That's what I've always liked about the gay guys. No offense, but as busy as Izzy is and as bitchy as he can be, believe it or not, I just chaired a couple months ago my first CMA meeting. CMA wasn't even around when I got sober, okay? It didn't exist.
I love that meeting.
And I told him, bitch, I need you to be at this meeting. Like, I am scared to death to go here. And here he walks in. And same thing with my 10,000 days sober. I was like, look, you're going to this treatment center. I'm celebrating my 10,000 days sober. I expect you to be there. And he walks in. So like when it's the important shit, and I got to remember this the next time I'm yelling at him, he's showed up. He's been there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he doesn't want anything from me. I'm definitely not sleeping with him.
But it's just like going to Fora. A lot of people did ask me, like, why are you still engaging? Like, why? Like, you don't even know what you're facing. Like, they told you could be going to prison for fucking 12 years, bro. And
I had to leave treatment.
And what I told him was, I was like, honestly, but what if I do win? That's the question. What if I do win? You know what I mean? But if it's okay if I don't win, because you know what? Look at everything I gained. Honestly, I gained so much.
I wish I would have had that attitude because
so little time. But bro, it took me. I'm 41 years old. It didn't happen overnight. And I tell everybody, I was like, and honestly, I gained such an amazing community. I gained such amazing people. And I don't think I'd be this far if it wasn't for my community, my connections. Because of my community, my connections, and because of me going to meetings, I got hired on at 4D because my boss see me. And today I'm an outreach worker / deflection worker, which I go into.
Which is hard.
And I love it though. I do. I love it because it's a whole different ballgame. Being able to advocate for people, be able to help them get to bed so they don't go to jail. You mean?
Yeah.
It
We've
feels
talked
like-
about often in past episodes that being able to take your recovery from A all the way through to Z, just have that continuous, that, like you keep saying, foundation, that foundation, and then building on it.
Yeah. And also 4D though, that to me, like, honestly, it's really cool because like they help you. I mean, like they care about you. Like, okay, you're working for us. Cool. Whatever.
I love
No,
Elton.
it's not like that. With them, it's more like, how are you doing, pal? Is there anything, you mean, my boss, she's always tells us, hey, if you're triggered, something going on, speak up because they need to know. Because they're there for us. They want to make sure that we're safe. And that's like their main thing is to make sure that we're safe so we can help other people.
I think that's very important when it's peer mentorship because when you have lived experience, so you can be triggered and you can get those feelings and those
like
emotions.
Outreach workers like us, you mean like me and my crew, we go out to the camps and we go out and we try to bring people in and try to talk to them. And
I give you kudos.
It's really humbling though. I met the most amazing people out there and which like it's honestly, I feel like people don't know people's trauma. I mean, people are quick to judge people. People don't know why they don't want to get housed. I mean, some people don't even have addiction problems. They just have mental health. You mean they don't trust anybody.
Right.
Mental health and addiction almost go hand in hand.
Also, like when COVID hit, you mean a lot of people lost their places. You mean with the rent going up high and all that. You mean people like, they don't know. You mean, and so it's just like learning to, understand and hear people out. But they are most caring people. Like when I go like to the shelters and stuff, I feel like I'm in that show Cheers because everybody knows my name. You know what I mean?
Hey, Val.
What's up? And like, hey, and it's just, I look forward to my days going to work. Because it's so humbling and so kind to be able to be like, finally get people to actually want to go to treatment. They have to like trust you and start gaining that trust with you and be like, hey, Val, remember the stuff we were talking about? Oh, yeah. Okay, I think I'm ready. And that's what's like.
You gotta wait for
how
that
rewarding
moment.
that would be. Yeah.
And just remembering, like, because we've all been there. As addicts. And it's just. Like it's amazing to be able to help people and be able to be there for people, and also to be able to lean on my work. When like if something like does happen, I can lean on them and be.
You got
I'm
resources,
and learning how to I never knew how to communicate with people. I never knew how to communicate with the courts. And I'm learning all that today. I'm learning how to talk with DAs and talk with the judges. You know what I mean?
Wow.
For other people. And it's like, I wasn't in their shoes. I feel and now I'm over here. You mean? And it's
how empowering is that?
It feels so good, honestly. And it's
what's crazy is you've mentioned Fora, right? GTD and 4D. We've done more stories on 4D than anyone. Okay, combined. GTD and Fora. And just so you know, we believe in them. We have their links on our page that goes directly to them. And there are people that you meet in your life, people who don't have addiction, might say a teacher or whatnot. But there's people like Mike Covey that stay with you for the rest of your life, just in spirit. For me, Elton of 4D.
I love her.
The girl. She's the truth as far as I'm concerned, like the truth. And so I hear you. We're there with you. Yeah.
I'm curious how your relationship is with your kids and
so
how are they
I love
doing?
that.
Today, I took my youngest because I have my little boy. He's 14. His name is Sabian. We call him Save. I didn't raise him. I didn't raise any of my kids. But Sabian was taken from me when he turned 2 because I went upstate. I went into time. And since then, his Nana had custody of him. She took him to Vegas. And basically, I didn't have a care in the world. Like, I was by myself. But today, though, my 2 oldest, my oldest lives in San Diego. He's going to school up there to become a X-ray tech. And my other kid, Eric, he's trans, who I adore. Oh my God, I love him. He calls me every day. And Save calls me. But it took him a minute and I had to be patient. He just started talking to me probably 5 months ago.
You got to build that trust back up.
And I got to see him play basketball for the first time because my boss is like, what's going on with you? I was like, what do you say? I want to ask you something, but she's like, what's going on? I was like, can I go? I want to take time off to watch my kid. He's Why are you asking me? Just take time off. Just go. But those are the little moments, honestly. I get to live today and I get to watch him play basketball. I get to him hit me up and say, Mom, I need money for snacks. And actually, this last Christmas that passed was my first Christmas with 2 of my kids.
Oh, wow.
In years. I've never had Christmas with my kids. And especially my oldest, because they're always spending time with their dad. So Eric called me. He's like, hey, can I come spend Christmas with you? I was like, I got your train ticket right away. I got you.
Let's go.
But to also have like my youngest say, hey, can I come spend time with you? Was a blessing in its own. Yeah. And then also like finally like for the first time we have a family trip coming up, a camping trip that I got to be involved in. And so all my kids are coming and my niece. And we get to have all the family there, have a big camp out in July. So I'm excited about that.
That's awesome.
And they all encourage me. Like my son says, he tells people, he's like, my mom's fit. My mom's really fit. I'm like, thank you.
You are really fit. tell our listeners, because when you were in Fora, you were thicker, right? That's my version, thicker. And I've seen you run, 2 marathons now?
1. And I did a half in the 26 degrees or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah, it was so cold. Oh my gosh.
I just want you to know, Greg had me out there. So I went on a Saturday, right? Because I was working Sunday through Thursday. I had Friday, Saturdays off. So I couldn't go to Thursday. I went to Saturday. And the morning that I chose to go is I'm not going to be there. And I was like, what? And Greg was there. And Greg's like, I'm happy to have you. It snowed. We had ponchos on. I still have the picture, and I sent the picture to Izzy. My shoes are wet, my socks are wet, my legs are wet, and I'm like, "Listen, I hope you had a good time at home on your couch." Right? But no, there's something to be said for doing it, though.
It's honestly like to be able to complete things and is the most amazing feeling. Just like when I got. Okay, so Connor posted on our GTD messenger, was like, hey, there's Ken can't make it to this trail run who doesn't even want tickets. So I was like, I didn't really look it up until the day of. I didn't really know what I was getting myself involved in.
Oh, no.
And so I get to Eugene at like 6 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yikes.
Run's not until 9. I didn't want to be late because I'm someone I have to be early because I feel like I'm
same
late.
Way most of the time.
And these Eugene people are laughing at me like, "You're from Portland, huh? Do you know when you got your?" I was like, "No." Okay,
Eugene is like the capital of track runs. Yeah, Olympic trial runs.
Yes.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I start going. I fucking missed my turn, so I end up doing an extra 3 fucking miles.
Oh no!
But then I look up. All right, so when I get to like where I was supposed to turn at, and I look up, I'm like, bro, this ain't no hill. This is a mountain. You know what I mean? What the fuck? And I'm like, God. And so, as you guys know, like I got my shirts made. My grandpa's on here because my grandpa's passed away. And so I'm sitting there like just talking to my grandpa's, and you're like, bro, like really, like I just want to. Because when hard times hit, though, I want to give up. I throw in the fucking towel. And I was like, I want to give up. I was like, no, you gave me this fucking forward. Keep going. And by I look, I feel like a lunatic talking to myself on this fucking trail. You know what I mean? And I was like,
look, you just had earpods in. You didn't see it.
You know what I mean? I was like, God. But honestly, it was those times, though, like during my runs, is that I love is because, like, when I want to give up, I keep pushing. And I got through. I got to that finish line. I was so happy. And it was just like the marathon run. It was my first marathon ever in my whole life. Never thought once I would run a marathon. And
we sat with you the night before.
And
it was the night before the marathon that we were all at Fora.
Oh, that's right. Right.
And I was like, you're running tomorrow. You can eat whatever you want. I was like, yeah. I was so happy when you and James came in. And then when I figured out you were doing the video piece, it was hella cool that we were at that table.
Yeah.
I was so grateful we were at that table and honestly not at the GTD table because I felt like we were so connected with the 3 coolest people in the whole freaking room. I'm dead serious. The lady to the right of me sat there and cried once they showed her piece. And then you got the couple over there that are having a baby. And this guy, I was like, oh my God, like this is table for real.
What an honor.
It was an honor.
At first, like, I'm not gonna lie, because I didn't know anybody from where we're going. And so I was like, and telling you, Sammy, it's a great job. You know what I mean? Like, fuck yeah. So I was like,
So you know what? The year that I went to IOP and I admitted that I had been molested, Izzy got the Freedom Award. And he invited us because he had tables everywhere. This bitch had half the place packed, right? And he had our whole lunch bunch crew, that same people I got sober with, right? Or some of them. And we were all there. And that was the single best day of my life that entire year. I cried the entire time. And so now I'm like, Mike, can you get us into the Freedom Awards? And he said, for you, Julie, absolutely. And I will tell you, those awards, that one in particular, I had never gone to all the other galas we had been to. I had only been to the Freedom Awards. And it was huge to me, especially when it was Izzy, because I remember him running when I was his first sponsor. He had this thing that hooked to my phone where his watch had a map of where he was. And he'd be like, I don't know where I'm at. I'm like, bitch, you're like by St. John's. You have to work at 6. Turn around back now. And he was getting ready for a marathon. And I remember the day after the marathon watching him walk out in front of his apartments, and he was holding on to bricks walking. And I was like dying laughing. But I just remember how empowering running was to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he was like in the best shape of his life. This is before GTD. And then our friend went into DePaul. And he went to take him running. He had a job. GTD really started out of him being kind to somebody in treatment and taking them running. Our friend Daniel Torres, who didn't make it. Yeah. And that's the other thing. Not everybody makes it. And I don't know how that's decided. I hope he's at a better place. A lot of good things have happened because he passed. But yeah, I don't know how that happens. But it's a miracle. I will tell you, it's a miracle. You're a miracle. My favorite thing you do, and I want you to know, I want to be like you. I don't want 3 kids, but no, 1 is enough. Every day when you take a picture of you smiling and stuff or succeeding on something just for that day, I hate my picture taken. I love when you post that. And I'm serious. Like, I really admire it. And I like that you post, like, you're like, hey, you flood Facebook, but it's with such positive stuff that I look forward to it. The last thing I want to ask, because I want to ask how you dealt with it. And if you don't want to talk about it, tell me to fuck off. It's okay. I know recently you had a huge loss.
Mm-hmm. It was our friend Priscilla. I grew up with her. She's in a better place now, but we look for her everywhere.
I know. I shared your post. Remember, posted it, and I shared it because I was worried.
And I remember a friend of ours was like, yo, check it out. Not a friend of ours. A friend of hers was like, I met her, one of her friends at looking for her. And one day she's like, are you coming to town? And I was like, yeah, I'm going to come down, see if we can hit more of the camps. Because people kept saying she was out in the camps, which we found out was her dude that was sending us out there like idiots. But it was one guy that told my friend, Jenny, that, hey, I seen them go to this house. But Jenny didn't want to go there because it's an abandoned house. And I was like, she was like, gone outside, but I didn't really. She's like, come with me. And I was like, okay, let's go. What it was? Maybe an R, maybe I don't know. But honestly, if it wasn't for Jenny having the instinct to want to keep going back to that house, we wouldn't have found her. We called the detectives and they went and they found her. And it was his blessing in its own. And it was hard. I took a lot of it on me, but I talked to my boss. Yeah. But basically, she was an amazing person. I remember seeing her, the last time seeing her, she had a black eye. And I was like, are you okay? And I knew she wasn't okay. Yeah, she texted me and she's like, hey, like, I can't really be texting you because he watches my stuff. I gave him all to detectives. I didn't do anything to help her, but we did everything we could. Absolutely. And it was a huge hit. I didn't know how to deal with it. I went to a zone for a little bit to where, But I didn't stop running. I kept running. I think that's what's also saved me. And I still stayed connected with my community. And I use my communication, I use my words. I don't know what to do.
How does anyone know what to do?
I don't know.
I'm just saying,
I'm someone who I think I know everything
No,
that I
I'm
need
just
to do.
saying, I don't know either. And I think you go through it and whatnot. And I think, like, when you say you go to camps and stuff like that and outreach, first of all, you're courageous. But I see so much courageousness in you, whether it's posting something on Facebook, whether it's giving Fora a chance, not even knowing if your case is going to go or not. I left treatment 3 days because they told me I was going to prison. So I had 3 days to take care of I said, and I was in treatment and I was doing good and whatnot. And the lawyer said, you're going to prison no matter what. It doesn't matter if you're in treatment. We've already tried that card. And I was like, fuck this. I went and got high, moved all my shit in the storage. But I see how courageous you are with your job, with your running. Don't lose that.
I honestly, one thing, because everybody asks me, and I'm tired, if it wasn't for my running, and if it wasn't, once again, for my community, my connections, and my kids, and my family, I don't really think I would have made it this far. I actually am thinking about my future for the first time. I already told myself I'm buying a fucking house. You know what I mean?
So I'm going to argue with you, okay?
Okay.
It's not your family. It's not your connections. Running, I'm going to say, is probably a really good help. But you did the work, not these other people.
I know.
Okay? It's you who showed up. Okay? Your family can be supportive. Your connections can be supportive. They can be part of your foundation, right? But ultimately, we have to choose. So and I'm going to tell you, when I first went to AA, I was going for 6 months to get off parole, girl. Fuck that. And that's all. And if I'm in AA, I'm not going to fuck up. And I stayed. That's when it was the right thing. And I was scared. I didn't want to fuck up as a mom and whatnot. And I did it for her at first. But my daughter's all grown. And I still go to 5 meetings a week. And it's you. So just don't ever... Let's say you had none of those things, right? Because there's going to become a day when you're in a situation like that. It's you.
Yeah.
Because we all have choices. And I know you can do it. Because your sobriety hasn't been fucking easy. Okay? I'm just saying. Some people go to fucking Serenity Lane. Fuck you. Okay? And your job pays for it. Fuck you. Okay?
It's honestly
nothing against Serenity Lane because we have a friend there.
I get a lot of people some people are like, I don't know if you've seen some of my comments on Facebook. They're like, why do you always post? Why are you always posting? Why are you always doing this? Why are you always doing that? I'm like, oh, why not? That's the question. Why not?
Because you're a survivor.
I was like, I've never felt, I learned what value was from my bosses. They're like, Valerie, they pulled me to the side one day. You need to learn to have value in yourself. I was like, what are you talking about? What does that mean? You know what I mean? I didn't know what it meant. You mean? And when my boss broke it down, you're just you learn to actually live in yourself and to learn to live for yourself, basically. And to fucking just have that strength to actually be I did this.
And if you keep showing up and walking the walk or running the run, right?
I think that's where it's at, though, because some people can do that.
Your kids will come. Once they see you doing it consistently, right? It's consistency. Your kids will come.
Yeah.
And this hard journey you've had, sobriety sometimes is harder than when you're using, because when you're using, you can just act like a fuck up.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you, as long as you keep showing up, it'll work out.
Yeah. I tell everybody that I use my struggles as a stepping stone. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Every fucking thing. And I'm going to tell you, it's looking real nice right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because of those struggles, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's what's so beautiful about the lived experience.
Yeah.
Now
Absolutely.
you can share, and what you're doing with your Facebook, that's probably part of it. Others can look at that. Someone who's out there struggling may come across your Facebook page and say, wow, look at this person.
And that's,
I can be inspired.
Had, people will be like, bro, ever since I seen you write your runs and stuff, I started running. I'm like, what? Yeah. And let me tell you, I love it. And I'm like, really? Yeah. And they ask me for prayers. And But honestly, because people even ask me, like, why do you always take GTD in my morning things? It's one, because it's me giving back to GTD even, and because I love this. I love the shit out of GTD. GTD is my home, you mean? And if I can, I recommend it to everybody.
I recommend it to my child.
It is so humbling, and just the community in it. And you find something, like, you don't have to run, you can walk. You mean?
My fat ass walks, girl. Every time I've gone on a run, I am in the back. And one time Izzy made me do these stairs. And I was like, really? But I'm just saying, you can walk, you can crawl, whatever.
Yeah.
But it is good. One day we walked all around the hospital. I liked that one. That one was, we went to places I hadn't seen, and I've been there a million. It was good. Yeah.
And that's also what I love about running, is because you can go anywhere in places that you've never seen before.
Absolutely.
And I do challenge myself at times. Well, let's go here. And which I feel bad for James sometimes, because I'm come up with the fucking craziest fucking ideas. And I'm just like, bro, what are we doing today? I'm like, let's go run 20 miles. He's like, what?
Well, I have to tell you, James is in great shape now, too, from when I first met him. You guys came in looking like what do you call those people that do the triathlon people? Yeah.
Triathletes.
Yeah.
So if you can say anything you want to our listeners, what do you want to tell them?
Honestly, I would say is give yourself that opportunity to grow. And don't allow your past to define your future. And that's one thing I used to struggle with, is allowing my past to stop me from being what I want to be.
Who you are on drugs is not who you are off of drugs.
And be kind to yourself. Always be kind. And give yourself grace. And always reach out and keep that community connections. Because without that, honestly, it's not going to work. Because if you think you're going to make it alone, it's really sad being alone.
There's a reason why they say what we can do together, we cannot do alone.
Yes.
And it's one of my favorite sayings. And whatever programming, you never have to be alone again. And I'm glad you have a couple foundations. Kudos to all of them. That's, to me, amazing. And your future is so bright.
Yeah. Yeah. You said someone said you're like a ray of sunshine. And I can see
attorney,
that.
Yeah.
I can see that today for sure.
My attorney and my private investigator. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a private investigator.
My attorney.
Yeah. Deborah Tuttle.
Yeah. Twyla. Yeah. Twyla Baisley. So like that. Yeah. She's such an amazing person. And she did a lot for me.
I actually felt really sorry for mine. Yeah. On the back page of my file, and I didn't see this until almost 20 years later when I was going to court with my lawyer. I hired my same lawyer to go to court. And on the back page of my pre-sentencing investigation, it said that I was not rehabilitatable.
Oh.
And when I saw that, I was like, fuck you.
Yeah.
At that time, I'm an operations manager at Sprint. I had been there, 17 years. I graduated from college. I put my kid through college. Fuck you.
Take that, mother.
And that's why I had to go to prison from treatment. My pre-sentencing investigation was horrible. And I was like, wow.
No, I had my drug assessment guy come in, and I fucking love him. He's such an amazing guy. Sean White. He gets a lot of people from treatment to me. He goes to a lot of courts and advocates for people. And he's, listen, I'm shocked you got teeth still. He goes, yeah. He goes, you don't look bad for. I was like, honestly, I think it's because I've been in and out of prison. That saved me. Because now I'd be probably looking tore up. But he was like, if you can't get it now, by the time that you're 40, most likely you're never gonna fucking get it. I looked at him. Honestly, I think he said that to me to fucking light a fucking fire in my ass.
Yeah.
Because I was like,
well, the older you get, the less chance of sobriety, which is the one thing I love about 4D. They target 18 to 35, so you don't get there.
Yeah.
Right,
I got sober at 32.
We got our other one was 14 to 17. You mean? And so we're fucking nuts.
Robert Sanders. That's
we are expanding.
Yeah.
And I'm excited about it.
The GTD is going to be I was on a golf course when maybe or maybe not a deal was done. So
Are we expecting there too?
look, I cannot say.
Say it.
Look, I cannot say.
And what's crazy though is there's this judge that I work with. Her name's Colleen Gil-Martin. She's for Clackamas, and she's an amazing judge. I've never thought I'd say about a judge, but she's such an amazing judge. She honestly she has a saying she tells people, so I'm going to give you a frog because frogs can't go backwards. They only go forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when she said that, I was like,
That's an
I felt
awesome
like it was like
metaphor.
a aha moment, but I've always loved that. I mean, and because she's very fair. She tries to hear them out and she gives them chances.
Yeah, I had one good judge and one bad judge. And when I got my judge, my lawyer said, out of all the fucking judges, we got this lady. And I was like, oh, yeah, right. And when I went for my record with my sponsor now, I got Kenneth Walker. And he's a Black judge. And I was like, yes. And he was like, I'm so proud of you. And I was like, thank God.
Yeah. Someone says it.
Yeah, it was good. But
What felt good though before I ended my case though was the fact that I had gotten my 4D fucking business cards.
Oh,
And I straight was
nice.
like, I gave them to my attorney. I was like, can you give the judge these? And he goes, yeah. He's all excited. He goes, yeah.
that's huge.
And she's like, oh my gosh. She's like, what? She went from here to like way out here. And which,
You were a frog.
I'm not gonna lie.
Go
I told her,
backwards,
I was
you
like, I was a thirsty bitch. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I was thirsty. I was thirsty for recovery. I was like, let's do this. You know what I mean? And that's one thing like attorney is like Portland has so much amazing recovery. You know,
We
the
know.
recovery here is so big compared to Salem and stuff. It's so small, but it's so amazing. You know what I mean? But like also, you mean like we also like Clackamas County, they have really good things there.
Oh, yeah. Programs for a whole year and stuff.
The parole and
Yeah.
probation, Amanda Dennis, fucking amazing. Never thought I'd say about a probation officer, but she's fucking great.
And I went through CRM with 4D, and we had two guys in our class. And shout out to Barry, but he was Native American, and he was going to hopefully go work with Jared. But they got him in a program for a year.
The CSAT program?
Yeah, and I just thought how amazing that is. That's a good foundation to come up with good habits, and you earn your freedom in there. But anything's better than jail.
Yeah.
Thank you so much
Thank you.
for being here and being on our show and
Thank you.
a ray of sunshine. Yeah, just
I'm
Right.
proud of you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
this is Peter with the Real Recovery Podcast.
This is Julie.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
That's a wrap on today's episode. Thanks to each and every one of you for lending us your ears and hearts. Your engagement is what fuels our passion and keeps this podcast thriving.
We cherish the moments we share here and hope they resonate with you, whether you're on a daily commute, at the gym, or just taking a moment for yourself.
Make sure to head over to our website at realrecoverypodcast.com. While you're there, subscribe to our newsletter for the latest insights and uplifting stories from our community delivered straight to your inbox.
Click that subscribe button on your favorite podcast player too, so you can keep up with every new episode. It's your support that keeps our conversation alive and meaningful.
And if our stories have touched you, consider using the donate button on our site. Your contributions, no matter the size, are deeply appreciated. They help us continue our mission of sharing hope and healing.
Join us beyond the podcast and follow our journey on social media. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, and on X, formerly known as Twitter. All the links are on our site, so you can stay connected and be a part of the Real Recovery community every day.
Your likes, shares, and comments not only spread the message of recovery, but also remind us that we're all in this together.
So, until we meet again, remember that recovery is a journey, not a destination, and we'll be here to accompany you every step of the way to recovery, real recovery.
Thanks for listening.